My God. Okay. Vandeyopa Sanatano Aguyago Shri
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji.
You? Okay. Oh, man, no. Let's do that. Oh, okay. Can you let us share? It says that sharing is not turned on. So we need to, if we can share our screen. Hello, hello.
Now, Maharaj, only host can share. Samne Mataji yet not come.
So we have no host. Okay. Okay, that means I have to describe everything. Okay. Okay, so as soon as somebody comes who can let us share our screen, that will be useful. Okay, yeah. What's going to happen here? Okay, yeah. Got my chart on here. Okay, okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura.
Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam.
Stapitam Jena Bhutale
Napitam Yena Bhutale.
Swayam Rupa Kadamoyom
Swayam Rupa Tadamayam.
Dadatis Padantikam.
Tadapi Svapadantikam.
This is a verse in the was it the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, the Mangala Archana. And Prabhupada said this is the verse that establishes that we are Rupanugas, specifically. Because many people claim to be followers of Lord Chaitanya. Ramakrishna claims to be a follower of Lord Chaitanya. Yeah? Yeah. But this verse establishes that you're only a follower of Lord Chaitanya if you're following Rupa Goswami. So we're studying here a little bit. Can't share our screen, okay? I can share my screen, okay. I have my PowerPoint show, so I have to open it up for myself. Okay, okay. So we're here having a little bit of a discussion and academic study of Nectar of Instruction. Okay, a authorized summary study of the what's it called? Upadeshamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami. And this is being presented by ISKCON Pakistan as part of the Bhakti Shastri Diploma, and Anjanasuda Academy, which is our institution of Hanumat Presaka Swami Bhakti Vedanta. Okay. And we were discussing that there's so many books presented by Srila Prabhupada, the Bhaktivedanta Library, maybe 100 books, you know. And the heart is Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is the ABCs, you know. And the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, covers everything from what is karma, you know, how do simple reactions work, all the way up to the most esoteric aspects of bhakti, you know. And the Nectar of Instruction, which we're studying now, is like a summary. It's a summary of the complete science, like that. Okay. And actually, it's only 11 verses. You can chant all the Sanskrit in about 3 minutes. You know, we did this in Oxford one time with a poster. It said, "Come tonight and spend 3 minutes with a genius." It was very attractive, you know, and very good, very nice. The work supports these things. Okay. Okay, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he has a series of songs, I think 4 songs from Gitabali, which are based upon Upadeshamrita. And we've been singing one of these. It's in our Vaishnava songbook, this one of these. But there's 3 more, I think 3 or 4 more right with this song in Gitabali. So somebody can respond, one person, and everybody else, you can just sing with your microphones closed. Oh, hey, Vaishnava Thakura, Doyar Sagar, hey, Dase Koruna Kori. Diya Padachaya, Shodoheya Maya, Tomara Charana Dori. Chaya Bega Domi, Chaya Dosha Shodi, Chaya Guna Dehodase. Chaya Sata Sangha, Deho He Amare, Bosechi Sangeroshi. Chaya Sata Sangha, Bosechi Amare, Bosechi Sangeroshi. Ekaki Amara, Nahi Paya Bala, Harinomo Sankirtanai. Ekaki Amara, Nahi Paya Bala, Harinomo Sankirtanai. Tume Kripa Kori, Shradhu Bendu Diya, Deho Krishna Namadvane.
Tumhi kripa kare, Shraddha Bindu Deha Krishna Nama Dane.
Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache.
Krishna se tomara, Krishna dete para, तुम्हारा शक्ति আছে.
Amito Kangal, Krishna Krishna Bole, Naitaba Pache Pache.
Amita Kangara, Krishna Krishna bole, Daitava pache pache.
So this is a wonderful song. For the Prabhupada said, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, with one stroke of his pen, could have made a song that would have made the whole world Krishna conscious. But he didn't do that, to leave a little bit of work for us. So this can be your whole Krishna consciousness. You can just focus on these songs and then preach from these songs. It's very, very wonderful. Because Bhakti Vinod Thakur is basing everything on Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, yeah. So again, he says, "Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur." So apparently Thakur is something more than Prabhupada's. they offered the title of Prabhupada to Swamiji, and he said, okay. And they said, oh, we want to call you Thakur. And he has said, apparently, oh, too soon, too soon. So we have Narottam Das Thakur, very, very elevated position. Okay. Okay, yeah. Man is coming here to do something, attach me. Okay, yeah. Diyapada Chaya, give me the shade of your feet. I'm trying to get close to you. Okay, and then he starts discussing the 11 verses in the Upadeshamrita. Chaya, Chaya Bega Domi, help me dominate these 6 pushes, right? It all begins with the tongue. The tongue wants to talk, and if it talks about stupid stuff, your mind gets involved with stupid stuff. And if your mind gets involved with stupid stuff, it becomes frustrated, and there's anger. So desire to talk, desire to think about all kinds of things, and then anger, which can destroy everything. Chaya Begadomi, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, purify me of the 6 faults. Because if we can control these 6 pushes, everything's finished. You become guru for the universe. Yeah, it's a very, very condensed text. If you can accomplish the first text, you become qualified to become guru of the whole world. There you are. Yeah, yeah. But 6 things will make it difficult to control these 6 impulses, to engage these 6 impulses in the service of Krishna. 6 things will make it difficult. Chaya Guna Deho Dasi, and 6 qualities will make it easy. Okay, so that's the first 3 texts. Then Chaya Satsanga. Okay, give me the 6 kinds of association, because the text is talking about a process. Yeah, a process. It's talking about association. Yeah? And also it's talking about places. Places. Who, where, and how. In Hindi, who, where, how.
कौन कहाँ कैसे
Okay, yeah, yeah. It's true in Spanish. Quién, dónde, and cómo. These are called the interrogatories. So that's what we're answering with this text. Who do we associate with? Because if we associate with people, automatically the process will follow. But of course, how do we associate? Through the process. Yeah, so they're related. They're related. Okay. Okay, so then he asks, this is text number 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3 is kind of the process, controlling these 6 impulses. Then 4, 5, 6, which we did last week, are then the association. So text number 4 we studied, and that is, what is association? If I go to Shoes R Us, or whatever these discount shoe stores are, and I buy a pair of shoes, have I associated with the shoe salesman? No. But of course, he's touching my feet. Yeah. So, yeah. No, because it's value given for value received. So there's no real association. It's impersonal. You know. Chanika Pandit says there are 3 kinds of charity, or 4 kinds. First one is when we go out looking for people that need stuff and we give it. That's just a first-class charity, going out and finding people. Second-class charity is if you just happen to come in contact with people that need charity, you give it. Third class is people have to come to you and ask for it. He said the 4th kind of economic exchange is value given for value received, and it has no pious credit whatsoever. So, of course, in our modern society, our modern world, economic exchange is based upon business, predominantly. Yeah. So that's our culture. But here he said, this is how we associate. We give nice gifts to people. We talk confidentially. We share food. And then we're associating. So in text number 5, he talks about how to apply this with devotees. Okay. There are Kanistadhikaris, Majjamadhikaris, Uttamadhikaris, you know. And he describes the different kinds of devotees, and it helps so much. I remember there was so much conflict in our ISKCON in San Francisco because we didn't know that, there are different kinds of devotees. One Christian organization, big Presbyterian organization from the Bible, it calls them young men in Christ, mature men in Christ, and old men in Christ. And it's exactly the same thing we're talking about. So it's a universal process. Okay, what is association? How to associate? Kanishta, Majjhima, Uttama. And especially is focusing on the Majjhima Adhikaris. It said, don't be a Kanishta Adhikari. It's about all it says. Bad thing. Yeah. And then it gives this process of how we associate with devotees. Because we're not perfect. We have material desires in our heart. Right? Yeah. But if the mind is under control, then they're there and we can be careful and we can avoid them. And we don't talk about this subject with this person. Yeah. Yes, like that. Okay. Ritvik gurus. Anybody? Go ahead. That's another one. Origin of the jiva. Female diksha gurus, like that. Yeah, certain people, certain things, yeah, bother them. Okay, but we can work together, we can make progress, and we go on purifying the heart. Convalescent stage. Okay. Then text number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's talking about the Uttama Adhikari, the perfected pure devotee. Yeah, because we have to understand then what kind of person this is and how to relate to them. And of course, we look at Prabhupada with that perspective in our whole society. So we have associations. Chaya Begadomi, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dase. Okay. Chaya Satsanga. Give me the 6 kinds of association. Deho He Amare. I'm getting close to you. Yeah, okay. Bose Chi, Sangera Ashe. I'm sitting down next to you, desiring your association. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then now we're going to start this week, text number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And they analyze into another pretty much group because every single text has been talking about association. If you follow the process properly in text number 1, control the 6 pushes, you become guru for the universe. Okay, that's your association. Text number 2 says bad association will destroy your devotional service. Text number 3 says get good association and avoid bad association. So again, 4, 5, 6, and talk about what is association and how to take it. 7 and 8, now he starts to talk about Nama Krishna Charitari Sukhi, Tanama Rupa Charitari Sitapiya Vidya Patopa Tapja Rasanasya Naroshikanu Kinvadarad Anudidam Saibakala Justa Savikramad Bhavati Tadgada Mulahandri. If I could share my screen, we could all look at this together. You can't do it. Yeah. So, Tanama Rupa Charitade, Sitapiya Vidya. And text number 8 starts exactly the same way. Shatnama Krishna Charitade Sukirtananu. So it's talking about the process. And again, like we're trying to point out again and again, Upadeshamrita is like Prabhupada said, it summarizes everything. All of the verses that are quoted and the purports are super essential. Everything is echoing again and again. So if you make this as a basis of your Krishna consciousness, everything then pulls together like that. Yeah. Okay. So this again and again and again. You chant Hare Krishna. That's first, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Rama. Now you chant with what's happening with pronunciation. If you do that faithfully every day with attention, it says, then what's next? What's the next reaction? What happens next? Tanama Rupa. Then you have some desire to see the form. You sit in front of a picture, have an altar. It's, for example, if I say Donald Trump, Donald Trump. You're not thinking of a short black lady with red hair. Right? Donald Trump, right? Maybe, yeah. It follows the Nama, the Rupa. It's just a natural expanse. Nama, Rupa. Charit or Guna. Yeah. So we're looking at the deities. We become attracted now. We're chanting and looking at them. And we begin to see, they have qualities. They're like happy or they're unhappy or, it becomes more and more manifest. They become purified. As we become Swami, ladies and men, then we begin to see the qualities. That Krishna, after the noon offering, Krishna is looking a little bit upset. Then when we taste the Mahaprasadam, and we realize that somebody didn't put sugar in the sweet rice, they put salt. Yeah, and so now we understand why Krishna was kind of looking a little disgusted. But that actually happens. It's the whole point. There's the whole story is about Sakshi Gopal. He's coming to the point where he's talking with Krishna. Yeah. Nama, Rupa, Charit, Guni qualities, Sangha, and Leela. Prabhupada says Krishna is never alone. At least there's a cow. It's probably licking his feet. Yeah, yeah. And once you have associates, then you have pastimes. So when we're chanting our rounds, chanting kirtan, it should manifest like this. One time we were on the Brajmandal Parikrama with Lokanath Maharaj, and for 1 month traveling everywhere. So at this point we were coming into Mathura, chanting Haribol, Haribol, Western people, everybody. And some of the people were banging on iron here and there and working, and they were looking at us like, well, why are you chanting and making all this noise? And, it was like a little intimidating, everything else. And I was leading, and I was leading maybe 400 people chanting. I was feeling, my God, all these people are going to, attack us or something. It was always like some people were angry, But Nama, okay, Nama, Rupa. But I was thinking, but we're right here with the Gornatai. Gornatai Mortis are right with us, and they are Krishna and Balaram. And Krishna and Balaram are entering into Mathura, and we're with them. We're the cowherd boys. Yeah, the whole thing just expanded, and the whole thing changed. And I was chanting like, come on, do something. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. That's one experience in Vrindavan. So we get these peaks, we get these pieces, of higher consciousness. Okay, yeah, okay. So anyway, that's what he's saying. That's not. He does text number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8, which we're just starting this week. 7 says if you chant very carefully, then your material contamination will be eliminated. Because right now, Prabhupada says in Bengal, there is a phrase that if you can't sleep, you should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Okay, go to class and fall asleep. Yeah. He says that, joking. But yeah, in the beginning, we don't like to hear about these things, have no taste for these things. But he says if you just take it because you should do it intellectually and everything else, then you do it properly as prescribed by an acharya, chanting 16 rounds, kirtan. Yeah. Then he says the disease is destroyed at the root, right? There may be Chanika Pandit says 3 things go to a rapid destruction. Okay. Trees on the bank of a river. Yeah, because when the river comes and floods, they get just washed away. Trees in the bank of a river, a king without counselors, and a woman in the house of some man other than her husband. These 3 go to a rapid destruction. He's like, yeah. He also says it's very hard to find a poor man who is completely honest. What else does he say? A beautiful young girl who is completely chaste. And I forgot the 3rd one like that and so on. Chanika Pandit is like, you hear these things, it's like a little bit shocking and everything, but you go, but yeah. Yeah. So he's saying, he goes through all these things, association. Now he comes to the process. He says in text number 7 that if you just chant Hare Krishna and engage in the process, chant Hare Krishna, worship the deity, read the Krishna book, then this disease will be removed from your heart, and then you'll actually be able to taste these things. So text number 8, he says, okay, now by following this process, chanting everything else, you come to the point of ruchi, where you can start to begin to taste these things. Adoshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajanakriya, nartanirvriti, nishta, ruchi. You're going through the stages where actually you begin to appreciate. So we would say this is where we're talking then about raga nuga bhakti. Raga means taste, anu means after, and ga means to go. So again, we give the example like maybe you're learning to play the piano, and you've got to learn the key of A, the key of B, the key of C. So you're practicing da 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 da. Yeah. And so when you read the music, say, oh, this is in the key of C, this is in the, I think Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari is in C minor stuff. You can play that. Yeah. So you're practicing da 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 da. Okay, this is Vaidhi Bhakti, sadhana bhakti, practicing, following the rules, getting up, chanting, and you begin to unlearn different things. Mongol arti. Yeah, no, there's so many details, and this will substitute for that. This, you begin to learn and become good at it. But at a certain point, usually like, second initiation, doing the offering on the altar. Okay, every day you're making the offering at noontime. One wet sabji, one dry sabji, puris, chutney, pakora, salt and pepper, lassi, water. Anything else? That's it. Okay. So you come in, you tell Radha Banki Bihari, hey, here's your lunch. I'll be back in half an hour. Yeah. So you're thinking, but that's, at least let me act like I had some feeling or something. So that's when you begin to come to Raga Nuga. You can begin to follow the raga of somebody. How does Mother Yashoda offer lunch to Krishna? How do the cowherd boys have lunch with Krishna? Yeah. So then you're inclined to start following something. And Jitatmana Prasantasya Paramatma Samahita. And this is when you're becoming Goswami, whether you're a woman or a man or a child, whatever, you become Goswami. Formerly men take sannyas, okay, but ladies also. You have to become Goswami before you become pure devotee. And that point, you start coming in contact with the super soul. Books start appearing at just the right time. Yeah, you start becoming guided by Chaita Guru, especially. Okay. So he says, this is 7 and 8. By 7 and 8, you can go all the way to Raganuga Bhakti, and then you should live in Vrindavan. You should identify an eternal associate of Krishna and follow them. But what does he say? He doesn't say this. He says, Eka ki amara nahi nahi paya bala harinam sankirtan. But Balaban, I can't do 7 and 8. What are you saying? I cannot do this Harinam Sankirtan by myself. Hey, oh no, I'll just chant Hare Krishna, I'll leave the temple, I don't need devotees. Yeah, yeah. Tumi Kripa Kori Shadu Binda Diya Deho Krishna Namadani. So please, you just give me a drop of your faith. That's what the whole thing is. Because only by your association can I follow 7 and 8, and then everything else that follows. So that's it. The association is more fundamental than the process. Again, we were doing an interfaith dialogue in Peru. Many good program, big university. San Marcos University, the oldest university in the Western world. Haribol. Yeah. And many people were talking, and one of the person was a Sufi, and which is Muslim, Islam. And so then it came time for questions, and I asked him how important is association of faithful people in the process in Islam. And he was kind of like shocked. It was like, my God, somebody was actually listening to what I was saying. And the question is actually a very good, sophisticated question. And he said, in Sufi tradition, you advance on 2 feet, on two legs. One is the mercy of God, and the other is the association of the faithful. Wow. So many things. Actually, I've heard Sufi people presenting, and we're just like, so parallel, same principles, same ideas. Yeah. You go. One Sufi guy was saying it's like you climb a mountain. On one side, there's a place for cars you can drive up, but then you got to walk. Other side, there's a what do you call it? A periferical cable car going up, and it's slower than the car going up. But at a certain point, yeah. So there's just different processes for different people. But he says if you're going up, and you should start to see the other religions the distance is getting less and less, right? As you go up, As far as I understand, the final thing you have to give up if you're a Muslim, the very last thing the ultimate perfection of Islam is that you share a cup of coffee with God. It's like in Islam, it's like sit there and share, for them it's like sharing coffee is like once you've done that, you cannot fight with people. We shared coffee together. Yeah, so but that's everybody has their pathway. It's a very good analogy. Very nice person. Ekakiya Mara Nahipaya Bala Harinam Sankirtane. Tume Kripa Kori Shradubendu Dia Deho Krishna Nama Dane. Yeah. Krishna say Tomar, Krishna Dite Paro. Krishna is yours. You can give him to whoever you want to. This is Thakur. That is your power. Tomorrow, Shakatiyachi. Amito Kangal. So how do you translate Kangal? I am Kangal. How do you translate Kangal?
Penniless.
Penniless? Yeah, it's worse than poor. It's destitute. One time somebody stole my shoes in Vrindavan. Of course, that always happens. I lost my heart in Vrindavan. I lost my passport. I lost my camera. I lost my shoes. I lost my mind. So anyway, so I went to Loy Bazaar with a devotee in the evening to buy a pair of shoes. And the guy had a little dukan and he had like Adidas tennis shoes and all this stuff there. And he was pulling out some sandals that were a little bit kind of expensive and stuff. So I said, Amito Kangal. And he goes, oh. So he pulled up the carpet off the floor and he pulled out these old used sandals that were made out of automobile inner tubes. I mean, they look, I said, well, not quite that. So, somebody else had been using. That's what I understood that Kangal means, like in English, destitute. It means Amito Kangal. Krishna Boli. Daya Tava Pachi Pachi. I'm running behind you. Okay. And now what I'm going to do for one moment here. Oh, Domini is the host now. Can we share our screen now? Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can share now. Oh, I can share now. Okay. Dadati Patagrinati. Okay. So I push that. Okay, now I got to push Shift, Control, Alt, H. The little bar on top disappears. Yeah. Then I go over and click on the little pictures of everybody. There's Geetika Kumari. She's laughing at something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I got to push this button here. Can you see our PowerPoint show now? Hello.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so we've been going over Gitavali, and this is very wonderful. If we get anything out of this class, we're hoping people will, want to memorize this song. And then if you learn the word by word meaning, maybe that's for Bhakti by Baba level of Bhakti Rasamrita Sena, Nectar of Instruction. Then learn the word by word meaning. And it's so powerful, so penetrating. It's a nice song. Okay. So again, we text number 1, 2, 3, we did the first week. Rishikena Sevanam. They're teaching us how to engage the senses in the service of Krishna. And then last week we did 4, 5, 6, which is Sadhu Sangha. And this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, tomorrow, and the day after, we were going to try to do 7 through 11. And it seems like this is the first time I'm breaking it in 3 sections like this. I'm learning so much. Why do universities exist? So teachers can learn. Yeah, because as soon as you try and teach something, Shravanam, Kirtanam, then you start to learn it. Okay, so there's text number 1, Vachu Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam, with 25 kinds of ice cream. Okay, yeah. And text number 2, over collecting. Okay. Text number 3, becoming enthusiastic. Yeah. And then 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Giving, receiving gifts, talking confidentially. Yeah. And then the pure devotee is above all these things. Okay. And now here we are on 7. Okay. So I'll chant. And then somebody can respond, one person, otherwise the internet gets overloaded. So somebody online can respond, and everybody else can chant with your microphones closed. Text number 7. Sha Krishna Nama Charitade Sitapiya Vidya.
Sha Krishna Nama Charitade Vidya.
Pato Patapta Rasanasya Narochik Anu. Kinvadarad Anudinam Kalusaiva Justa.
Pritoptatarasini Ruchikono.
Swadvikramad bhavati tadgaramulahantri. Okay, so we have a great Sanskritist here in our studio audience, Mr. Ravi Gupta. What is this meter? Chintamani, no, it's not. It's Basant Tilak, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is Basant Tilak, ornament of spring. Very nice. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance. Oh, okay. I'm struggling with my robot here. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Cannot taste anything sweet. It is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. In our picture, we have a nice picture with a root, tree with a root. Okay. And so as we explained, 7 and 8 are about anartha nivritti, and 7 is about anartha nivritti and ruchi, getting free from all these contaminations, you know, and then actually you begin to get a taste. And text number 8 is that taste then will lead us to raga nuga bhakti, you know. That's number 8. So number 8, the translation is the essence of all advice. Of course, Upadeshamrita is the essence of all advice, but number 8 is the essence of all advice. So what is that? The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting, remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. This is it. We engage the tongue. We can do that as a gross object. Yeah, but then the mind can be easily engaged. We shouldn't let the mind wander away if we have some option. You know, what is it? Prabhupada says we can chant Hare Krishna with our tongue, right? Hare Krishna. But he says even a parrot can do that, right? Yeah, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But he said, but what does the parrot say at the time of death? Yeah. Or if he's Spanish, he says, gato, gato, gato. Yeah. Yeah, so the mind is not engaged. The mind is thinking about this. Yeah. So by the tongue, engage the mind, then engage the heart. In this way, one should reside in Braja, Goloka Vrindavanadam, or ISKCON Temple, right? Yes. Yes. Yeah. And serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. So here's the process, here's the place, and here's the association. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So a Raganuga Bhakta follows a Ragatmika Bhakta. You know, Raganuga. We go after the Raga of a Ragatmika Bhakta. His Atma is Raga. Yeah, process. And of course, all of this is discussed in much more detail in Nectar of Devotion. You know, Nectar of Instruction is a extract, a summary, but it's nice. You can put everything there. You can review it. You can think about it. Where am I? What's happening? Where this person at? What should I talk about? Yeah. Okay. So we have a picture in our PowerPoint show of Balaram dancing with the gopis. Okay. Does Balaram dance with gopis? Does he dance with the same gopis as Krishna? I saw a commentary. It was on what's it called? Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat was in the temple in Spain, and it was there. And it was somebody had translated Bhakti Siddhanta's commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat. And he said that Balaram never dances with the gopis in the mood of an enjoyer. He dances in the mood of a teacher, right? You know, some ladies, there's a new dance step coming, and they all want to learn it so they can dance with their husbands in the country club, the cha-cha or something, the rumba. So they go to Mr. Pepe's dance school, 4 or 5 of them, and he teaches them how to do this and dance and these things, you know. So if he's doing his job properly, he he's not thinking how he's enjoying with them. He's thinking, oh, they're going to have a nice time with their husbands, and their husbands will be impressed that they've learned so well. So Balaram always dances in the mood of a teacher. The guru, right, never enjoys the disciples offering whatever, always in the mood of teaching like that. You know? So here, Balaram went and danced with the gopis when after Krishna had left Vrindavan, but he was reminding them what it was like to dance with Krishna and everything else and so on. So this is it can be Raga Nuga. I can play the scales on the piano, da 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 da, or I can play Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, right? Da, 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 da. Okay. Yes. But I don't play it with much feeling. It's like da, 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 da. Yeah. Yeah. So my teacher comes along, he's watching, and he says, "Hey, okay, look, I'll play it on the violin, you know, and we'll play together." And so when he's doing it and playing on the violin with raga, I can do it. Yeah, yeah. So that's Raga Nuga. You're fine. We're not trying to imitate like the Sahajiyas to enjoy. We're trying to imitate like Raga Nuga to learn, to improve. And by doing this, it actually stimulates our real bhava. On the car, there's a starter motor. Chi-chi-chi-chi-chi-cha. Chi-chi-chi-chi-chi-cha. Chi-chi-chi-cha. Okay. So he knew that last thing was not the starter motor, right? That was the real motor. And so then we pump the gas pedal like mad and everything else. Oh, yeah. So that's Raga Nuga Bhakti. You're like imitating, yeah. Go on Sankirtan. I try to be compassionate. But at some points, you actually feel real compassion. And you realize that wasn't imitation. That was the real thing. But it's not constant. It's not deep. It's not, in the beginning. So then the next stage, Raga Nuga, takes us to Bhava Bhakti. Okay. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes. Thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braja and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's devotees, beloved devotees, who are deeply attached to his devotional service. And we have a picture here of Mathura Mandala. And Prabhupada says, in this way, one should reside in Braja, Rupa Goswami says. So we have a nice picture of Braja Mandala here. Okay, I'll turn it around. Everybody can look at it. There's right now. If you've got 2097 vision, you see it. Okay. Yeah. And so you see the Jamuna going through like a snake. She turns 3 times because she doesn't want to leave. Yeah. And there's Shirgat, Seshasai, Kokilvan, Kamyavan, Barsana, Badrinath, Adibadri. But especially in text number 9, then he's going to talk about this place. We should reside in Braja. Okay. So places, number 9. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikunta, the kingdom of God. So if you're a Muslim, a Christian, or Buddhist, what's that? Amitabha Buddha. He goes to
Pure Land.
Yeah, but it's Sanskrit.
Sukhavati.
Sukhavati. Yeah. So Buddhists, Christians, everybody knows about the kingdom of God. But here it's saying that Mathura is superior to the kingdom of God. Have you been to Mathura? Was it superior to the kingdom of God? Okay. Yeah. Because Lord Krishna appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri in general is mine has 2 potencies. The first potency is the throwing potency, and the second potency is the covering potency. Now we've understood what is mine. Yeah. But then mommy asked the nurse, is she being good? Yes, okay. Yeah, I'll take her. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, okay. Superior to Mathura Puri in general is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan. 12 very famous forests. And of course, Vrindavan is superior to Mathura in general because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. Superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial and nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Okay. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? It's okay. I didn't know this. I'm becoming a devotee, but it's okay. It's different. So in 1978, Prabhupada left his body in 77, and somehow or other, they thought, okay, Hanuman Presaka Das has been serving seriously, so we should let him go to Vrindavan. Okay, yeah, okay. And this was the first Tirobhava festival, the first time we celebrated Prabhupada's disappearance. And before that, there was only people would only go for Gaur Purnima, that. So there weren't many people there and stuff, and getting there was difficult. It was very, very difficult in those days. There were real street dogs at that point, real beggars. The street dogs had their hair coming off because of disease and oozing sores in their body, broken tails going crooked, half their teeth missing, and they were fighting with pigs for garbage. And it was really, but also no motor rickshaws. It was very interesting in 78. One old man told me when he was a little boy, the Jamuna was much more full, and the deer would come down in herds to drink water from the Jamuna. Forest was more, every generation coming covered. So I got there by myself, and there was nobody else there. I finally wanted to go to Radhakund. I got here, okay, I want to go to Radhakund. And nobody to guide me, no parikramas. So somehow or other, some rickshaw guy said he had to go take the bus from Mathura, and he would take me to Mathura. Of course, going to Mathura on a rickshaw took forever, but of course it was a big income for him. Then I got the bus. Finally, I got to Radhakund. There was nobody there. There's nobody. This is just Radhakund. Okay, it looks like the picture in the book. Then some guy came out, some local Dam Pandit said, I will take you around, sir, 50 rupees. Okay. So he showed me Bhakti Siddhanta's toilet and stuff. First time I dipped my beads in Radhakund and stuff, So that was my first time. But yeah, I understood, that there is this hierarchy. Vaikuntha, okay, there's the material world. Yeah, Prabhupada says it in the purport now. Okay, let's go ahead here with the purport. Well, no, we're not going to. That's going to be the day after tomorrow. Okay. So we're discussing the process, where to do the process, and then Prabhupada's describing the process. Rupa Goswami is telling us these secrets about what the process is. Because you can chant Hare Krishna in Vrindavan, but you can chant Hare Krishna near Govardhan, and you can chant Hare Krishna in Radhakund. Yeah. And the shot number 10. Okay, so that was places. Number 10 is people. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruity workers, karmis, he who is advanced in the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari, Gyanis. If you follow karma, your religion, everything else, you'll acquire wisdom, right? If you're associating with the opposite sex freely like this and that, you'll never figure out what's going on. One devotee, again, I can maybe say his name. Okay, Tapan Mishra, his father. He was a lawyer. His father was a lawyer. His uncle was a judge. His sister was a lawyer. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, he told me that, he was working in Sacramento with his father and this and that. And then he said he was just shocked because after being in the court, they went down to the bar, of course, after a day in the court, screaming at each other. And he was having Coca-Cola with cherry juice or something. And he said, Tom, I got something to tell you. I think I finally found the right woman. And he was just shocked because his father was something like, 65 years old. He'd been married to his mother, second marriage, and this would make it the third long-term relationship, right? So he had associated with, this will be now 5 different women, right? And he hadn't figured out. Have you figured it out? Yes, no. Yeah. I mean, you just think there's a peace. You guys made this peace agreement when you started. We both know this is stupid. And I remember someone told me this. You both figured out it was stupid before you even married. But hey, yeah, this we're going to do this, like the cardamom, what's it, Devahuti? Yeah. But if you're just not following Islam or Christianity, then you never figure it out, because this Maya, all of Maya's attachments, all of Maya's temptations and pleasures are temporary. All of them. But she has an unlimited number. Yeah. And so you'll never figure it out unless you're for karmi. If you're a karmi and you're following properly, then you begin to figure out, like Devahuti and Kardama Muni. Both of them figured out, this is not going to work. I'm not Krishna, you're not Radha. Yeah. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. Bahunam Jamanam Mante Yanavam Mam Prapajante. He is superior to others. Very rare to find such a person. However, one who has actually attained prema, a pure devotee, pure love for Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, yes, what's your name? Chandravali is the most dear to Krishna. Aha, see, I notice you're listening. Checking it out. Among the gopis, what's her name? Palika is the most dear. Who else we got? Palika, Shama. There's 8 competitors. Amongst the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Okay, so that's people. We got another hierarchy. In the purport, Prabhupada expands it from karmis to vikarmis. Vikarmis, karmis, gyanis, vimukti gyanis, sadhana bhaktas, prema bhaktas, braja bhaktas, gopis, radha. That's everything. Went back to association again. Now we got everything. And you'll see it talks about everybody as well. It's like you can, how to relate to everybody. But now, okay, where? Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. We're organizing a film here, making a film. We need a drunkard. Where do you go? Find a drunkard. Yeah. Okay. We need a priest. Where do you go?
A church, maybe.
Yeah. For every person and every process, there's a place. Okay. Kunda is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, and render loving service to the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Astakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Here's where it becomes tricky. And lucky I'm your teacher. Let's look at the next verse. Okay. Krishnasya Ochai Pranaya Vasati. Of all the many objects of favor, delight, and among all the lovable damsels of Brajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. In every respect, her divine Kunda is described by the sages as similar dear to him. Okay. Undoubtedly, Radhakund is very rarely attained, even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once in those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Anybody bathe in Radhakund? Didn't bathe there? Was your pure love of Krishna fully aroused? Yes, that's the point. Yeah, because you look at the fine words there. It says it'll say that Lord Chaitanya was looking for Radhakund, and some old guy said there's two like little hollows here where there's a little water. Some call them Shama and some call them Gori or something. And Lord Chaitanya could see that the original Radhakund was there. So he took his bath and he said, the original Radhakund and Shama Kunda are here. When they're translating it into Spanish, he said that these are the original. No, what we're seeing is the Boma pastime, right? Somebody comes from the jungle and Amazon. And he goes into the city and he wants music. So he grabs somebody and says, "Give me music." And the guy's shaking. He says, points down the road, and there's a sign above it says music. so he goes inside and grabs the guy and threatens him with a poison blow dart and give me music. And the guy gives him a CD. He says, so he goes back to his people and says, "I have music." Yeah, I've been to Radhakund. I bathed in Radhakund. Yeah, Radhakund, there's swans swimming. The sand is made of diamonds. Yeah, that's the Radhakund you have to bathe in one time. What we're bathing in is, it's significant. It's something special. Yeah. But that's a very important point. So both verses, it's very subtly, you've got to read that it's divided. There's two kinds of Radhakund. Living on the banks of Radhakund in a body surcharged with Aprakita Bhava. Well, that can be your Siddha Deha body, but it can also be your material body. But now your material body is surcharged with Aprakrita Bhava at every moment. So it's not a material body anymore. Yeah. It's like if I plug a thing in the wall here and take the wires and say, "Hold these," you're going to say, "No, wait." Nuts. Yeah. Okay. So this is a kind of a summary here. Okay. And now it is 9:30. Okay. And of course, this class is for ISKCON Pakistan. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Okay, my picture of myself. My goodness. Okay, yes. And I'm going to go to the chat for one moment here. Okay. And so Gitika Kumari says, "Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances to your feet." Okay. So she's practicing text number 456. Mr. Vinay Devidasi says, "Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for these classes. Are there a place or YouTube channel where we can find the recordings?" We have to ask our sponsors about that. Okay, and she puts it right afterwards. I mean, she's in control here. Okay. So at this point, anybody have any questions or comments? We kind of looked at a little summary of these last four verses. Yeah, you can raise your electronic hand. Okay, somebody's raising their finger. Omeshwari is raising her finger. Okay. If not, I will go on. Okay. Damn behold. We'll first it says hold enough. Here we go again. I can turn my picture off because it's bouncing all over the place. Yeah. Okay, so I go back to share. I think we're still sharing. I go to my PowerPoint show. Okay. So we never work in Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, every 15 minutes you have to have a breakout session. Right? Play some game. Yeah. Okay. So let's look then. Let's go right away. Let's go right to then text number 7 today. And then we'll be finished. And we can take the shot. Okay, where is there it is. Okay, this is Vedabase.io. I told you, Prahlad Nrsimha Das. He founded this and runs it, and we were honored to initiate him. He's from the Czech Republic, right? And I told you about rich people. No. In the Czech Republic, lawyers are very famous for corruption, taking money, he told me. And then doctors are famous for taking more money, squeezing more money. But the people who squeeze the most money are the customs people. So one man, reporter, he went to a lawyer and said, "How long it take you to buy Audi?" And the man said, "Oh, I can buy Audi in 3 months." Wow. Then he went to a doctor and said, "How long it take you to buy Audi?" He said, "I can buy Audi in 2 months." And he went to a customs guy and said, "How long it take you to buy Audi?" And the man said, "Well, maybe 1 year." And he said, "Well, you're famous for taking so much money. Why these people say 2 months, 3 months?" He said, "Well, yes, but Audi is big company." Anyway, that's the person behind Database.io. So if you see a few, you may understand a few things that are in here are actually jokes. So don't trust the guy completely. Okay. So text number 7. Krishna Nama Charitari Sita Piya Vidya Patopatapta Rasanasya Namo Chikanu. Ken Badaradhanudinam Kalasaiva Justa Swadvi Kramad Babatita Garamula Hantri. There's, I think, four or five different meters in Upadeshamrita. And somebody points out that they keep getting longer as you're going on. So it's wonderful in every aspect. In Bhakti Bhai Baba, we can start looking at the meters and chanting it and singing it. Okay. So the holy name of Krishna, his pastimes, activities are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy, although the tongue of one afflicted by jaundice, avidya, cannot taste anything sweet. It is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is destroyed at the root. And as we mentioned before so many times in the purport, the first paragraph, Prabhupada will just, summarize what the actual translation. So Prabhupada says, the holy name of Lord Krishna, his qualities, pastimes, and so forth are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet, like sugar candy, which appeals to avarice. Nescience, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a diseased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. There was one Indian newspaper, and they were talking about. They say, if we have to go for 2 hours to the temple, we go, oh my God, how difficult, how a problem. But if we're asked to watch a cricket match for 6 hours, we're ready. So if we have to go to we can go to the mall and we can spend $350 on toys for our children and things for our family and our wife and our house. But if we have to give $20 in the temple, oh my God, it is so horrible. Yeah. And they're talking about the same way. Yeah, this is it. We have a relish for these things. Attacked by jaundice, you cannot taste anything relishable. So Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. I'm sure it'll be on the test, because the test for these things loves analogies. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to relish the transcendently palatable name, quality, form, and pastimes of Krishna. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention, now this is important. Prabhu, I chanted Hare Krishna for 5, 6, 7 years. I didn't get any result. I gave up on it. I go to the temple sometimes now, but were you chanting with care and attention? Yeah, every day I was chanting. Let me hear you chanting. Hare Krishna, yeah. Somebody was chanting for the whole life like that. They were chanting every day, 16 rounds like that. At the time of death, they went to Vaikuntha, and there was a very ugly, ugly deity of Krishna there. And the devotees said, well, who are you? And he said, I'm Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And you've been calling my name your entire life. So now you must stay with me forever. So we're making a deity. You can carve a deity visual, tactile, right? Yeah, but sound is the same thing. So when we're chanting, we have to pronounce properly. You got to be conscious of how we're pronouncing. And if you're chopping out, I have a tendency to add extra haris in between the Hari Rama and stuff. Record your chopping, right? Listen to it. Yeah. Okay. If one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, reading the Krishna book, reading Bhagavatam, his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Yeah, the temple, the devotees, the festivals. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by the regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So it's a whole process, the whole activity. Now Prabhupada talks about somebody. Now he's talking about the person who's attached to material life. He's amplifying the verse, but first he's talking about the person who is attached. When a man in the material world takes more interest in the materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be in a diseased condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord. Jivera swarubhoy, Krishnera nityadas. Yeah. This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. It's still Krishna, but it's the external features of his Maya energy. This world of Maya is called Durashraya, false or bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durashraya becomes a candidate for hope against hope. I know when you're driving around, do you have a lottery here, state lottery? Yeah. You're driving around, sometimes there'll be big advertisements for it. We know the state lottery has now reached, to $87 million. And sometimes they have a little sticker going there. And the bottom, it says right across it, it tells you, they'll tell you, what are your chances of winning the lottery? Mm-hmm. Your chances of winning the lottery are 1 in 2,367,433. Okay, we got a pistol here, right? And we got 5 bullets in it and a 6 changer. This game, right? You play the game, Russian roulette, you just spin it. Okay. Yeah. Now this pistol has 2,647,000 bullets in it. Right. So this is your chances of winning the lottery, fellow. Yeah. Says it right there. But hope against hope. Yeah. They have their mantras. One of their mantras is, if you don't play, you can't win. Yeah. It's gambling. Among cheating processes I am. Gambling. It's so addictive, so addictive. Okay. So they become a candidate for hope against hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy. And although their material attempts are baffled in every way, due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People are trying to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is a struggle for existence in the material world. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. So this is the condition of material life. This is somebody who has avidya. This Krishna consciousness movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. Why do we have ISKCON? Why are we spreading it? To inform people, to educate them in a very practical sense. People in general are misled by. Now here's the whole thing. It's not just that they're stupid. Upanishad discusses exactly the same thing. They're not just stupid. People in general are misled by blind leaders. What's it called? Maya Pavita Jnana. Yeah, they have knowledge. They're scientists. They're politicians. They can speak so elegantly, but they're fools. Yeah, and they're getting people all organized. Hitler was a fantastic orator, right? Yeah, but he led people into, Germany into the, hell past human imagination. The leaders of human society, the politicians, the philosophers, the scientists are blind because they are not Krishna conscious. According to Bhagavad Gita, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge due to their atheistic way of life, they are actually sinful rascals and the lowest of men. So here it is. I got somebody is talking. Who is talking there? Yeah. 1 second here. Whoever, please close your microphone. Yeah. Praina Mulani, please close your microphone. Thank you. I guess, yeah. Okay, now I gotta go Shift, Control, Alt, H. Okay, and then I gotta. Where's my God? Okay, how do I? My God! Oh, I push this button here. Okay, I don't use Zoom. Go to Zoom. I use GoToMeeting. I got it. Okay, yeah. So of course, Prabhupada's quoting this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Close your eyes and repeat after me. Namandruskritino Mudha
Namanishtikano Mudha
Prabhajante Naradamaha
Bhagavate Narayana
Maya Paritagyana
Kalanam
Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. So do this. When you see these verses, don't just skip over the Sanskrit. Actually chant them and try to memorize them. And of course, Bhakti Bhava, Bhakti Vedanta, then we start to look them up. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, okay, that's the mudha, like an ass, like a donkey. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So Prabhupada is just amplifying this point very clearly. Some people are in ignorance, they can't understand things. And why? Because they're being led and they're accepting leaders, association. Such people never surrender to Krishna, and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take shelter of Krishna. Yes, when such atheists become leaders of society, the entire atmosphere is surcharged with nescience. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna consciousness movement. Just as a diseased person suffering from jaundice does not relish the taste of sugar candy. However, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, is the only remedy for setting the world aright. Although Krishna consciousness may not be very palatable for a diseased person, Rupa Goswami nevertheless advises that if one wants to be cured of material disease, he must take to it with great care and attention. One begins this treatment by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because by chanting this holy name of the Lord, a person in material condition will be relieved from the misconceptions Chetodarpana Marjanam. Avidya, a misconception about one's spiritual identity, proves the foundation for ahankara, or false ego within the heart. So this is you'll see a Nectar of Devotion. This is summarizing exactly, I think, the second wave of the Western part. You'll see details where it's discussing exactly this. Avidya is the cause, that causes the seeds, that causes the reactions. And then you can see exactly how karma is working. Okay. Prabhupada says the real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. Yeah. It's in a convalescent stage. It's in your heart, but you have nice things, you have nice senses are purified, and you can control your mind by chanting, by following the process, and therefore you know these desires are in your heart. They can't bother you. To cleanse the mind and heart of all misconceptions, one should take to the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. Now, the three stages, which we discussed back in text number 5. Oh, okay. There are 3 stages in chanting the holy name. The offensive stage, the stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage. When a neophyte takes to chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, he naturally commits offenses. There are 10 basic offenses. Okay, everything's mentioned here. If a devotee avoids these, okay, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between the offensive chanting and pure chanting. Wow, okay. I can see that there's people in the temple who are not pure devotees, but boy, I wish I was a temple devotee. I wish I was regulated. I wish that this thing would work out like that. Yeah, I want to come to that stage. When one attains the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called Bhava Maha Devagni Nirvapana. As soon as one liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can relish the taste of transcendental life. So Prabhupada summarized everything. He summarized how we're attached in this wave, how associating with certain leaders and selecting them will give us this process. And now he says, the conclusion is, okay, we're going to finish the class here, that in order to get freed from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna conscious movement is especially meant for politics, competition, sense gratification, and creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Wow. So do we need a big temple? Yes or no? Yeah. Then we consider how will this support the kirtan chanting? And what is our schedule? How will that promote chanting? Okay. And now Prabhupada is going to paraphrase this whole verse, this famous verse we've been talking about again and again. It's in the first part of Nectar of Devotion. It's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 4:10. Okay, Adoshvada Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivritti Nishta Ruchi Asakti Svabha Prema. These are all the stages one after another. If you break it into three parts, it's Kanista, Majjhima, Uttama, and this occurs again and again and again. And you have to know this. This is how you see how am I becoming cured? What is the medicine? What is the doctor trying to tell me at my stage? How can I help other people? What level are they on? Okay, so Prabhupada will now paraphrase this in such nice description of all these stages. Okay. One must begin with faith, ado shraddha. And when that faith is increased by chanting, a person becomes a member of the society. Ado shraddha, sadhu sangha. We are sending out Sankirtan parties all over the world, and they are experiencing that even in the remotest parts of Boise, Idaho, where there is no knowledge of Krishna. The Hare Krishna mantra attracts many, many people on the 4th of July to see our festival. Yeah, thousands of men to our camp. In some areas, people begin to imitate the devotees by shaving their heads and chanting the Maha Mantra only after a few days of hearing. This may be imitative, but imitation of a good thing is desired. Some imitators gradually become interested in becoming initiated by the spiritual master. Adoshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya. The work. Okay, I want to get matriculated. I want to join the school. What do I have to do? What classes do I have to take? Okay, that's bhajana kriya. And offer themselves for initiation. If he is sincere, he is initiated. This stage is called bhajana kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 16 rounds daily, refraining from illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling. By bhajana kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. Anartha nivritti. He no longer goes to a restaurant or hotel to taste so-called palatable dishes made with meat and onions, nor does he care to smoke or drink tea or coffee. He not only refrains from illicit sex, but avoids sex life entirely. Nor is he interested in wasting his time in speculating or gambling. In this way, it is understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things. Anartha nivritti, adoshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti. The word anartha refers to unwanted things. Anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to the Krishna consciousness movement. Okay. When a person is relieved from unwanted things, he becomes fixed. Nishta. Adoshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishta. He becomes fixed in executing his Krishna consciousness activities. Indeed, he becomes attached asaktis, to such activities and experiences ecstasy in executing devotional service. This is called bhava. So very, very nice explanation of all these stages and what's happening. And where am I? You should understand. I'm about here. I'm initiated, I'm chanting, but I don't, my rounds, I'm chanting them odd times. I don't do this, I don't focus sometimes. I'm coming into Nishta. I'm just starting to get there. But sometimes I have serious doubts. And sometimes I taste experiences which are not in this world. Well, yeah, okay. This is why, man. This is called Baba, the preliminary awakening of dormant love of God. Thus, the conditioned soul becomes free from material existence and loses interest in the body, in the bodily concept of life. Yeah, loses interest, including material opulence, material knowledge, and material attraction of all varieties. Radharani refuses to grow. Radharani refuses to know. She remains a simple cowherd girl. What is the greatest terror in the lives of the gopis? That he's gone to Mathura. What's the problem?
So ill associated.
All those girls there, they're so sophisticated, right? They can do crossword puzzles. Gopis are terrified. These girls can do crossword puzzles, so he'll never come back to us. But that's, they keep themselves in the condition. They're not interested in material opulence, material knowledge, and material attraction of all variety. At the same time, at such a time, one can understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and what is his Maya. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb. Going to wailing of children. Although Maya may be present, okay, here it is right now. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once she attains the Bhava stage in the class. This is because a devotee can see the real position of Maya. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna. And forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side like light and shadow. If one remains in the shadow, he cannot enjoy the facilities offered by light. And if one remains in light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes liberated. Okay, that's this verse, text number 7. And remains in the light. Of course, text number 8 will then begin to talk about what you do once you come into the light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness, as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita 22:31. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andhakar, Yahan Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. Krishna is compared to sunshine, and Maya is compared to darkness. Where there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the material energy will completely vanish. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Upadeshamrita, text number 7. Yeah. So, any questions from anybody here? Can raise your electronic hand or put something in the chat. Yeah. One time we were in San Francisco, Berkeley, which is, city right across the bay from San Francisco where the big university is. And I had gone to the bank. I was a treasurer. It's like one block away. And Prabhupada was coming for the Rath Yatra. It was the first, Rath Yatra in the new temple. And so then I saw then the car going, and Prabhupada comes. So I ran back to the temple, and Prabhupada had gone in. He went in and went to the bathroom first. And he sat on the Vyasasan. Because Prabhupada always gave his arrival addresses. It was very nice, And he said, I was coming from Los Angeles, flying from Los Angeles here to San Francisco. It's about a 1-hour flight. And he said, the pilot came back and talked to me like that, And then many years later, maybe 20 years later, I saw somebody, devotee, had been sitting like maybe two rows back and had an 8mm camera going. But 20 years later, I actually saw that. And the pilot was a big guy, a little robust, not a lot, but big. And we could see he was sitting next to Prabhupada, like leaning on the seat, and he was smiling and talking, and he'd come back and talk to the Swamiji guy, which you could do though then. And Prabhupada was also talking in a friendly fashion with him. He made a friendship, and the man has some interest. So Prabhupada said, the pilot asked me, Swamiji, if God is all good, why is there evil? This is one of the, maybe that's one of the 12 standard questions you get. Yeah. If God is all good, why is there evil? And then Prabhupada said, so I explained it to him like this. So you all tell me if I explained it properly or not. Okay, Prabhupada. He said, said, Krishna is like the sun. He said he can only see light. Wherever the sun looks, it only sees light. Okay, I'm going to try and see, I'm the sun, I'm going to try and see darkness. So, I try and look behind this shadow, that shadow. Yeah. So this is the fact. So from Krishna's point of view, the material world is all good. It's fun. It's a nice place to visit, but he doesn't hang out here so much. But yeah, he likes it. Wow, do you like it? Yeah, yeah. But if we have, so Prabhupada said, so from Krishna's point of view, there is nothing wrong. It's very nice, Yeah. He said, and as long as we're facing Krishna, he says all we see is light. But he said when we turn our back on Krishna, then we see our own enormous shadow. How big is our shadow? Yes, it's tiny, but for us, it's enormous. It was Berkeley, California, the temple there. It was winter time and raining and everything else, and the temple heating wasn't so great, this and that. It was finally the spring started to come. It was a Saturday. And I went out to do something. I was walking down by Shattuck Avenue or something. And there's a place there where, where like out here, where three roads come together, kind of. So I was waiting for the light to change, and all these cars were stopped, and everybody had their convertible hoods open, and whatever. And we're taking the sunshine, and everybody was like, really enjoying it like that. But this one car pulled up right in front of me, and it was a convertible. He had the top back, and he was smoking a cigarette, and the radio was blasting away with this horrible music. And I realized he had created his own little personal hell. He was just looking really miserable, and life is terrible, and all this kind of stuff. And it was everybody else was happy and stuff. That's the point.
Yeah.
And Krishna Surya Sam Maya Haya Andhakar. Yeah. And so all of what we're talking about here in this verse is natural. If you engage in the process, follow it properly as applied, and it's all practical. Yeah. And you see little by little, you go through the stages, avoiding bad association, bad leaders, and eventually you become liberated. Socrates gives the example of the cave, very famous example. A man is raised up in a cave, and all he can do is look forward at the shadows of these puppets, with the light behind them, and he thinks that's reality. This is 2,000 years ago. And so everybody thinks, and everybody's identifying with different shadows. We're watching the movies, the shadow shows. And then somehow or other, he turns around and he realizes that this is all just an illusion. Okay, well, wait a second. Is there something else? Then he finds a way out. Okay, but he says when he comes out, the light, he realizes, yeah, there is real light. But in the beginning, Socrates says this is too bright. You can't distinguish forms. You're not used to it. So this verse is talking about coming to that level, where you can come out. So tomorrow, then, we'll discuss about what happens how do you become accustomed to the light, and what happens after you begin to see the form. So at this point, okay, we have one question here from our studio audience. We will we'll ask, anybody else here have any questions? Bisham, Aswani? No questions? No? Premna, Nevani? Sounds like a family or organization here. Uttama Bhakta, Ananda Manjari, Nadia. Yeah. JP Radha.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji, I have wrote my question in the chat.
Your voice is becoming a little distorted. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji, actually I have wrote my question on the chat box.
In the chat. Okay. There we go. Okay. Prena Nevani. How to chant properly, because most of the time I am rushing towards things to be done, and I do chanting like it's a responsibility, not love. Okay. This is like Maharaj Parikshit. Sukadeva Goswami sits down, and Maharaj Parikshit has basically one question. What is the duty of a man during his life, and especially at the time of death? Well, to answer the question takes 18,000 verses. No, because it shows so many different kinds of people in different situations. So how can you chant properly? That's the first thing to realize, that it's a very personal problem. Everybody's different. Chandrasekhar Swami, we were together as bhaktas kind of, and he had so much energy in his legs. As he said, he had so much Shudra nature. He would just fall asleep unless he was walking around or chanting like that. Sometimes he would stand in front of the Vyasa-san doing japa, 25 people or so in the big temple in Berkeley, and he would just run in place. He would be standing there running in place, chanting his rounds to stay awake. Yeah. Another person, Jai Krishna Das, he was an international chess master. He could keep 6 games of chess in his mind at one time and beat every single one of them. But he had almost no acoustical concentration. You could concentrate and keep visual things like that, but with sound and stuff, very difficult. So you would start chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. So I showed him the Nishingadev Yantra, and it has 108 lines. So he started constructing one line for each mantra in different patterns and different colors. And then he was able to keep his mind under control. So it's kind of the first answer is that everybody is different. Basically, in a basic process for everybody, pretty much the thing is get up early and get your rounds done. Yeah. It's after 20, 30, 40 years, that's what I'm realizing. And Prabhupada saying, get up early and get your rounds done. And adjust your day for that, you know. And then, of course, keeping good association. If you don't, I know people that don't have a association, not living near somebody, so they have japa buddies, japa buddies, and they chant together. They call each other and they wake each other up and they chant together. And even if they don't chant together, they check in. How many rounds have you got done? Yeah, so that's 2 very, very good things. Get up early, and then somehow or other get some association in chanting your rounds. And then if you're reading the Bhagavatam and acquiring knowledge, your intelligence will become changed, and your intelligence will begin to realize why this is important, why it works. I know many devotees. One time, I'm always talking about Mangala Arati, getting up early. And one devotee, he was a Sankirtan leader in Canada, a very powerful Sankirtan guy, and became the leader of everything else. And he told me, he said, Maharaj, when you were here in Canada 3 months ago, you were talking about how it's always important to get up for Mangala Arati, you know. And I was thinking, yeah, but sometimes being an administrator, I have so many things to do, and sometimes I'll just sleep a little bit later, you know, until maybe 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or something, you know. But then he said, but I was going on after that and thinking about what you said and struggling. And he said, finally, I came to the conclusion that there was not a single time when I made the decision to get up rather than sleeping that I ever regretted it. But then after that, in our life, I'm sure you maybe had the same things. At certain points, you realize your intelligence, hey, and so that's what happens. You go on studying, reading, chanting, getting up, you know, and then you begin to get your intelligence starts to become purified. Okay. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we have question here from the people in the audience, which may be a benefit. We'll take one question live. Okay. This is from
Maharaj, this is Uttam Bhaktas. I have a question.
Uttam Bhakta has a question. He's not paying for this class, but he's Pakistani, so he gets preference. Pakistan will lead the world.
Maharaj, do we have time for a question, or I can wait until tomorrow if that's okay?
No, we have until 10:30. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off my hearing aids. Okay. And I go up here to Bluetooth and I turn off the hearing aids. And that means I can then broadcast your voice here. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my question is, you were towards the end of your lecture, you were mentioning how some people turn their back towards Krishna and then they see darkness. Can we take that statement as an answer to many statements that Srila Prabhupada makes in his purports, where he says Krishna is the source of everything, means good and not so good things. And I always had this confusion or a question in my mind. Well, Krishna is the source of everything. Um, um, Definitely, he's the Supreme Lord. He's the source of everything. But then how can he be the source of negative and evil things? So this statement that you made towards the end of your lecture, when we have our back towards Krishna and all we see is darkness, is that the answer for Prabhupada's statement also? Or we can't hear you, Maharaj.
Yeah, okay. See, answering this, it depends what level we're at. You know, if somebody's on a certain level, then they get a certain answer. It's just an analogy. Like maybe a little 3-year-old child, he's playing with his trucks and stuff on the floor, pushing them around. And his mother is ironing the clothes and watching her daily soap opera, you know, as the world turns, you know, this and that. And then all of a sudden he thinks and he says to his mother, "Where does my daddy go every day?" You know? And so she knows he has no conception of work at all. So she thinks about it and she says, "Well, he goes and plays with his friends every day." Now, is it false? Well, really, work and everything else is really just kind of like, you know, boys don't grow up, their toys just get more expensive. Yeah. And so, yeah, so in some respects, it's true. It's actually coming down to his level and stuff, you know. So when we're asking about what is the origin of the jiva, how do we get into this mess, you know, then it depends upon your level of realization and everything else, and the answer will come different ways and different things like that, you know. But basically, yeah, that's the point. Krishna is the cause of everything, but it depends on our perspective, you know. Probably is another analogy. There's this guy in India, in Pakistan. Yeah, his name is Bogilal Patel. Okay. Something else in Pakistan, Bogilal Patel. And he has you know, some land there. I don't know, you know, lot, some nice area. He has a fence around it, and he works very hard. He grows very, very nice fruits and flowers and vegetables, and he wins all kinds of prizes and makes good money from it. Okay, and he's working very hard. And then one day he kind of doesn't close the gate very tightly, and one cow kind of pushes it open, comes in and starts eating all his flowers and vegetables, and he becomes just irate and angry and goes over and starts hitting the cow and kills the cow. Okay, yeah. And then on the higher worlds, Yamaraj is looking at his list and he's going to send his constables out to pick up people and take them off to their destination. Then he sees Bogilal Patel and he says, "Okay, I'll take care of him. He's a little tricky." So Yamaraj disguises himself as a sailor and he walks down the road. And funny, he comes to the fence by Bogilal's garden, and Bogilal's working like a madman inside. So he leans on the fence and he reaches over and plucks off some flower and it snaps. And then Bogilal becomes angry and runs over and takes it away from him and says, "What are you doing? You had no right to take that flower. It's in my garden here." And then the Yamaraj says, "Well, oh yeah, my goodness, I'm sorry. You know, I can see everything you hear is just so beautiful and so nice, and I was attracted." Yes, and Bogilal says, "Yes, I work hard to make everything beautiful and attractive here." And Yamaraj says, "So wow, so you do all this?" And he says, "Yes." "Do you have any? You must have a lot of help." He says, "No, I do everything here." He says, "So you're responsible for everything that happens in this garden?" And Bogilal says, "Yes." And Yamaraj says, "Then who killed the cow?" Got him. Yeah. So it's another point. The same thing is that, yeah, the Vita Raga Baya Kroda 410, 10-4, 410, 410. Baya. Fear is one of the enemies of spiritual life, and it's the realization that you have free will and that you are responsible for what you're doing. Yeah. And when you realize that, many times you become terrified. Why? I don't want that. You know, I want to be forced to be in the spiritual world. I want to be forced to be happy. Yeah. I don't want to suffer. I want to be forced by pleasure or whatever it is, and so on. But as we mature and we realize that, yeah, this is why Krishna is actually attracted to me. Because Krishna does not know what I'm going to do. Yeah, Krishna does not know what qualities I have that I can develop. I don't know. Yeah. So Radha and Krishna, I mean, they see, oh, look, he solved that problem in this new way. Wow, nobody's ever solved it like that before. Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of and you know, so that's our nature. We're the marginal potency. Krishna likes, again, he likes to experiment the material world. And the example in the Krishna book is Kubja. Okay. Kubja is an example of the Bu potency. Krishna has the Shri potency and the Bu potency. Shri is Lakshmi, Radha. Okay. So Prabhupada says those who are attracted to Krishna, Krishna consciousness in this conjugal mood like Kubja, have to be careful. In a previous lifetime, she was Suparnaka, and so she only wanted to enjoy with Ram, right? It's like somebody who takes a vow to only eat prasadam. I will not eat boga, but I want good prasadam. Yeah, yeah. So that's a certain level. It's Krishna appreciates this. This person's taken a responsibility, but they want to enjoy something out of the relationship. So Prabhupada says, and then Kubja, he was protecting her. He cut off her nose and ears, and then her attraction to Ram wasn't covered over by somebody being attracted to her. You know? And then she took birth as a hunchback, and again nobody was attracted to her. So her attraction to Krishna in this contaminated state was protected. You know? And then Krishna was able to try to develop it from the Bhu Shakti, earthly pastimes to the spiritual pastimes. Yeah. So it's our choice. We have this choice, and that's our nature. And you might say that Krishna wants to know what it's like to be Radha, right? Understand her potency. So he tries to imitate again. Krishna wants to know what it's like to imitate him or something, to be the jiva. What do the jivas do? So then he creates the jivas, and they kind of inform him, although he can never really understand, what is Maya. Yeah. So we supply this. We're tiny, we can, oh, that's what it's like. Does that help?
Yeah, Maharaj, so to summarize your answer, for the sake of my understanding, can I say that can I say that Krishna is the source of everything, and evil and negative things, of course, indirectly, not directly, correct?
Yeah.
Indirectly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pure devotee sees everybody engaged in Krishna service. He sees Kamsa. Notice he's not Kamsa killing Devaki's babies is, Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Okay. If we have time, I have one more question.
Let's see if anybody who's a paying student has any questions.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so maybe one last question here. Yeah.
Let me see. I think okay, there's no question in the chat. So the other question I have, I think it can be a quick question. You have mentioned many times, and I've heard in the lectures of His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu speaking at ISV, many lectures and stuff. I think he's present there in the assembly. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, everyone. So and then you have said many times.
Gupta.
You have said many times, and Prabhupada writes it in his purports, and Radhika Raman Prabhu has quoted Srila Prabhupada in his lectures at ISV. My question is specifically to Muslims, and while growing up in Pakistan, or and taking this Islam courses, because they were part of the school curriculum and stuff. So this came across very clearly that Muslims think of God as effulgence, nur, and the word that they use is nur. Nur is effulgence or light or jyoti, whatever you may want to call it. And then Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport that Muslims are kind of raw, Vaishnavas. And you have said something like this, and Radhika. So I would like to understand. My intelligence and my processing says that they are Brahmavadis. As far as I am concerned, I may be 100% wrong, but analyzing the whole situation according to their books and their teachings and their sermons and this and that. I've come to conclusion that they are at best Brahmavadis. But then I would like to get your clarification on that and see what you have to say.
What is it? The Satyanarayan Puja? I think it's from the Skanda Purana. And I think that's the Rajarshik Purana. So many people do the Skanda, and they do it to worship Vishnu and everything else. But the whole thing is a very, very fruitive activity. If you do this, your children, when a woman will have her husband and her children for a long time with her, you'll become wealthy. All these things, if you do the Skanda Purana, do it. But it says, and this person who did it, he became Dasarat. And this person who did it, they became. So you see it saying about, hey, the real thing is to get the association of God, but it's not emphasized. So as I'm remembering, Prabhupada said, the Quran and the Bible, they are authentic Vaishnava scriptures, but they're aimed for a certain people at a certain time. And so the emphasis will be there. What is it? The Mahamugdara Stotra. This is Shankaracharya, who's saying that we're all one. Yeah, I'm you and you are me, by the way. Yeah. Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Mudha Mate, Samprapte, Sanihitikale, Nahi, Dukane, Rakshate Karane. Just worship Govinda, just worship Govinda, just worship Govinda. All of you software engineers, all of your continuous conditional if statements and continuous if do loops will not save you at the time of death. I mean, it's the same thing. These guys were, that's what they were doing, but they were doing it with grammar. And then, artificial intelligence, we will create life. But he's saying no 3 times. But that's, so it's there. So all the acharyas, they give this, and Prophet Muhammad, may his name be blessed. Prabhupada said he did wonderful work. So there's a different emphasis in different parts for different people. As far as it was explained by me, by Jayadas, whose father was a colonel in the Turkish army, there is Muhammad's Mirage. You know this? It's called Muhammad's Mirage, And it says it's accepted, but it's just not like emphasized. So one point the angel Gabriel comes to Muhammad's bedroom one night and says, you got to come with me. So he puts him on the boat and they head off and they go to higher and higher levels, and it describes it. And at one point he removes the blood cloth from Muhammad's heart, which causes fear of death and things like that. So these higher descriptions, okay, we can match them up with our ideas. He keeps going higher and higher, and then finally he comes to the spiritual world. And grandfather Adam is walking out from God's private room. So grandfather Adam is coming out from God's private room, and I think he's telling them, God's going to set this standard for them, but try and get a little bit lighter. Try and talk to them about making it a little bit easier on them. Okay, so he goes in, and then the angel Gabriel says, "I cannot stay," and he closes the door. So this is as I'm remembering it, pretty accurate. So in the room, there's a curtain, and behind the curtain is Allah. Okay, then Allah says, "Come behind the curtain and talk with me." So that it's there. It's possible to see Allah as a person, but it doesn't describe. Allah has how many names? It's a specific number, right? Huh? 99. It was 90 names, or 99? And some are known to the common people, some are known to the angels, and some are known only to Allah himself. So same thing, there's different kinds of hierarchies and different levels. One Jewish professor we were working with, a good friend, he said, Hanuman Swami, for most Jews, God is a person, but he's so great and everything else, you can never quite catch up with him. You can see his footprints in front of you. You can feel his hand touching this and stuff. So again, this would be Paramatma body. So And there are some people in Islam who claim to be Islamic people, but they actually hate God and he's impersonal. So we say they're Mayavadis, right? They make him impersonal, but because they don't want him to have any personal features, they want to cut off his arms and legs. And even though they know, so there are two kinds of impersonalists, you know. But the other kind is people that just, there's just many Islamic people are joining ISKCON and they're quite happy with it, quite satisfied. Mullahs and everything else. Yeah, it's just very natural. We stand together on so many things. I know I'm talking about thinking about specific persons. It's the guy who was talking about climbing the hill. As you go up, and we realize when it comes down to abortion, we put everything else aside, and we stand together against this. This is destructive. Yeah. So that's what I would understand. It depends what kind of Muslim you're talking to. Is this Brahmavadi or yeah.
Makes sense, Maharaj. It makes sense. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I think maybe we'll stop here because here it's 10:20 in the morning and we're going to take breakfast now. Mahaprasadam ki jai. So tomorrow we'll get ready for text number 8. Text number 8. Thank you all very, very much. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Maharaj.